Hello traders, welcome back to the channel, man. I am here again with one more live session of Market Outlook. In Market Outlook, this is where we use technical analysis as well as our experience to make a projection as to where we see the market going into the next week. All right, so the last market session, we did have a bearish outlook, and when we look at this chart, let me pull this up here. And when we look at this chart, last week we were somewhere here, I think. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So last week we were somewhere inside this area, and I said, hey, the outlook is still very bearish because we had a small, somewhat a flag pattern setup, which ended up failing and actually pull back down more. All right, so now guys, at this point I am no longer bearish on this market, specifically the ES. I'm a little bit cautious on the NQ, but let's break it down, let's slow it down and bring some real reasons as to why I am no longer bearish in the short term on this market. All right, so when we look at this, man, we see we talked about inverse head and shoulders pattern where we broke out, run back up there, but we made a lower high right up there, and then from that we pull back. What was very interesting right here is, though we had a support, we were in like a small bearish flag, but again, because it is support, we weren't really anticipating it breaking down, because we see that this level is a very strong zone, as well as it is right there at the 20 EMA, and you can see this was a resistance. This is a support zone, and let me zoom out on the chart a little bit to show you why I was even more, or believed a little bit more, that we can see this was the old high pre-COVID. So anywhere inside this region right here, I do believe that, hey, I don't really see the price breaking down below that level, at least not yet. All right, so we had a nice pullback, and you can see that this is a small short-term downtrend line that we had. And on Friday we were able, on Thursday we tried to push up, then on Friday we opened here, we pushed down a little bit, but got bought back up into what is looking, or is actually, a hammer candle. All right, so from this point, I'm looking to see this thing pop back up here, at least bare minimum, to try and test this last high. If we can break above that last high, then I do see this market trying to come and test the all-time high, at least for a double top, and then at that level we will know a little bit more as to what's going to happen. The market is also still a little bit more optimistic, given that we've heard small chatter about the stimulus package coming a little bit closer. But nonetheless, guys, I don't want us to get caught up or caught off guard, because right around now we're still in this very uncertain period of time. We are weeks away from the election. I really don't know how this market is going to react when this election news comes or whatever. So though we're pushing a little bit higher, I am very cautious. When you jump in here, the setups must be something that you're really satisfied with in order to jump in and take a quick trade, because we're still in uncharted territories in terms of the uncertainty. In the last minute we can hear the stimulus deal is not going to work out, and then we just end up getting a huge sell-off, or something can happen in regards to the election that may just cause a major sell-off. Also, another thing that I'm seeing is when we look at the MACD histogram, we can see that the histogram is pulling down. We gotta watch and see if this thing actually flips negative, and we can also see that the MACD line, is crossing down. Yes, we have all the way down to the zero line, before we actually know if we're gonna go deep. But what I'm watching for potentially is, do we start getting some diversion here where we see the MACD start sinking down, but price starts to go higher. Now, if we see something like that happen, what more than likely that would end up being is that would be that price just run up and make a second lower high right here, and then from there, this thing can start pulling back down. So that's the second way that I'm looking at that. So the first look is, okay, we have broken out of this short-term downtrend line, and from this level I'm anticipating a run up back to the last high if we're able to break the last high, because the market is strong, optimism, all of this stuff. Then we will come back and test the high. Okay, that's scenario number one. Scenario number two is if we continue to get some diversion right here as price moves up, then what we're ultimately looking at is for price to potentially make a lower high right at this level, and then pull back down, and then we go lower, because now we'd have 1-2 lower highs, and then the moment price is able to break this level of support, then we know for a fact that we're coming down. Where would we come back down to? Well, we'd come back down to test this 200 period SMA, or just another retracement back down into that level. All right, or we can just get a quick move back down here, and the market just end up doing a quick big channel till after the election. Then we decide if we're gonna break out or we're gonna pull back down a little bit more. Okay, so I'm still optimistic. There's still opportunity to take some trades. We just got to be cautious. We got to be patient, and we got to trade the best setups. All right, so that's how I'm looking at it. Let's jump over to the smaller time frame, so we can see what we're looking at in that very, very small time frame. So we know how to play this thing come Sunday, if you do trade Sunday. Okay, all right, so right here, right now, on the smaller time frame, you can see we were in this falling wedge that we talked about. We came down, hit the support, then we were having this up move that ended up moving into just a sideways channel, and then we break out of this small downtrend here. From there, price run up, but it ran exactly back into the horizontal resistance right here, pull back down, run up, made a lower high, pull back down, and then it run back up, and then it broke out. After breaking out, price sold off. We pulled down to the 50 SMA on the hourly, and then from there we bounce, but we can see that right around here we're having almost a bearish engulfing candle. So we want to see is this thing gonna pull back down and then try to move back higher from here. But also another thing, on the hourly time frame, you can see that price is still yet to recover above this 200 SMA on the hourly chart. Okay, so we still need to push up a little bit more before we can be 100% confident that, hey, this is it, we're out of the woods. Yeah, so one more thing, I want to quickly look at the NQ, because I know a lot of you guys do trade the NQ. I've only been covering ES because ES is really my favorite thing, but I think there's some opportunity here to go ahead and cover NQ as well, just to make sure that I'm bringing some value to you. Okay, All right, so guys, when I look at this NQ chart, man, you know, NQ had the inverse head and shoulder, quick double bottom down here, boom, and then we run up. Okay, since we run up, we pull back to the SMAs, no, or the EMA. Yeah, we pull back to the 50 SMA right above the EMAs, but I don't really like the way this is setting up. We're starting to get a small horizontal base built right here. I don't really like that. I want to see this thing, you know, actually break out of that and start moving higher. But anytime I start to see a flat base, you know, it just always reminds me of a potential bear flag that this thing can potentially break back down. All right, so I want to be cautious on the ES until we get a big strong bounce and we're able to out of this, you know, horizontal base that we have right here. You know, you can also see that for a couple days now we're still below the 10 EMA, so we really need to come push up above, you know, all of this and start to move back up, and then at that time I'll feel a little bit more confident with the ES, but with the NQ. But I still believe that there is some opportunity inside NQ and inside also these tech stocks. So let's just go down to a hourly chart for the NQ and see what we're seeing on the smaller time frame. Okay, let me pull up a little bit more data right here. Alright guys, so we now have a hourly chart right here of the ES, and guys, man, you know, this thing pulled down, it run up, made a lower high, pull back down, not a lower high, and then this thing just break down, and right now it's still kind of just, it is still pulling down a little bit. You see what I mean? It's still below the 200 SMA on the hourly, and that typically shows you that in the short term this thing is actually moving down. Okay, so right around this level, you know, we need to pop above and then start, you know, trending up to potentially come back and test this high, at least up to, what is that, the 12,100 level. If we're able to break out of this horizontal base right here, then we have a potential to start moving back to the upside to test those critical levels. All right, so guys, if you do like this video, just, you know, hit the thumbs up, turn your notification bell on so that when the next video comes out, you'll definitely be the first to get notified. If this is your first time tuning into the channel, I want to thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. I'll see you on the next one.